All right, guys, what is going on? What a freaking draft for the Sacramento Kings. If I wasn't biased towards this team, I would still say the Sacramento Kings are the real damn winners of this 2026 NBA draft. I really do feel that way, guys. Before this draft even started, all I was hoping for was a freaking dim light at the end of the tunnel. After this draft, that dim light turned into a bright ass light, and it has me excited and hopeful for what's ahead for this franchise. Really, really a strong draft. They addressed, the biggest thing they addressed was getting a franchise cornerstone piece at 7. And they did that with Acuff Jr. I love the fact that they traded for Alex Cariban, a winner, proven winner at UConn, can flat out shoot the ball. And I think the Kings can never say no to any shooters. You draft your franchise player at 7 and you trade and go out and get a shooter. And today they went out and they got a freaking dog in an Emanuel Sharp. The kid out of Houston, he's a guard. Yes, it's another guard, but I think that when you look at Scott Perry's alignment and his values of the organization as far as culture identity, Emanuel Sharp, Cariban from UConn, and Acuff Jr. fits his pillars that he is trying to turn this franchise into. And that is a winning organization, a winning franchise. And each of these 3 players that the Kings got the last 48 hours represent winning values and winning cultures. Let's talk about Alex Cariban, because I really thought that they would not get him, but they've been linked to him for quite a while now for what has been reported. He's a big 6'7", 6'8" wing forward that can catch and shoot. He shot 36% from beyond the arc. I think he's going to really help and benefit the Kings a lot, man, from beyond the arc with his range and his ability to spread the floor. He shot 85% from the line as well, so he's a very good free throw shooter. And he's labeled as a winning role player. And you know what? The Sacramento Kings could definitely benefit and use a winning role player on their current roster right now. He helps the Kings not only in that department of just having a winning background, but he also can help them with some depth at the wing forward position and, with his three-point shooting ability. The Sacramento Kings were one of the worst three-point shooting teams last season. So I think this cannot hurt. This can only help moving forward with the franchise and where they're trying to trend and go towards. Now, the second round today, the 45th pick, Emanuel Sharp. Listen, personally, I would have said just take the best player available at 45, assuming that that's what they were going to do. But whether it was a guard, forward, or a wing, a part of me wanted to be just like a athletic defensive wing. But I'm not surprised by this pick. Sharp, when I think about Emanuel Sharp, I was going back and watching Kingston Fleming's tape, and I just thought of Emanuel Sharp. Like, he's obviously a backup or alongside Kingston Fleming's at times and played for coming out of Houston. I just thought that maybe there is a chance they do take another guard in the second round. But I didn't think too much of it just because, you got your franchise cornerstone piece in Darius Acuff Jr., the 7th pick, who is a point guard. But the more I thought about the roster and the more I thought about the Kings situation, Devin Carter is their only other point guard other than Acuff Jr. that's under contract for next season. And Devin Carter is a old regime player. Scott Perry did not draft Devin Carter 2 years ago. That was actually Monty McNair in the previous regime. So this pick kind of made more sense in that aspect when you look at it. And Scott Perry's going to want to bring in the players that he wants to bring in. So I'm not surprised about the Kings taking Emanuel Sharp with the 45th overall pick. He's 6'3", should not be slept on, that's for sure. He's a defensive guy who can actually spread the floor, and he can shoot the ball as well, guys. He shot 37% from beyond the arc last season. I think he set the school record at Houston for the most three-pointers made with 309. He averaged about a little over 15 points a game. And, he shared roles with Kingston Flemings, who was the 8th overall pick that went to Atlanta and the Hawks drafted. And make no mistake about it, Sharp is a dog. He can definitely ball. And I think that him playing alongside or even in backing up Darius Acuff Jr. Really could benefit the Kings having a really good 1-2 punch with Acuff Jr. and Sharp coming off the bench behind Acuff Jr. I can't complain, man. I cannot complain about this pick. I think it's going to be beneficial moving forward, and I think that you're going to have in practices and camp, you're going to have iron sharpens iron. You're going to have these two, and Sharp and Acuff going at it. In practices, they will make each other better, and they will be good together as a duo for the Sacramento Kings. And last but not least, we got to talk about Darius Acuff Jr., man. Knowing that the Sacramento Kings were able to get their hands on Darius Acuff Jr. at 7, let me back up a little bit. All things considered, this is what makes the Kings the real draft winners. Before falling 2 spots after losing the coin flip to the Utah Jazz, who got the 2nd overall pick, and they selected Darren Peterson out of Kansas. The Sacramento Kings were projected to get a top 5 pick, whether it be number 5 or whether it be somewhere in the top 5. The fact that they lost that coin flip and they dropped 2 spots to number 7, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little disappointed. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little disappointed, but it was meant to be, man. God found a way to get us a franchise cornerstone piece at 7, and Darius Acuff Jr. wanted to come here. He said that this was his last workout, and he felt like that was his best workout was with the Kings, and he wanted to be here. His camp wanted to be here, and this was his preferred destination to come to Sacramento. And not often do you see a top NBA prospect come out and say that his preferred destination is Sacramento. And let me explain why his preferred destination is Sacramento. His dad was coached by Kings GM Scott Perry. There's a valuable connection there. He met with the front office, at the workout, and he felt wanted. There was a feeling was mutual. The front office wanted him, and he wanted the front office. He wanted to be here. And he knows this team did not have a sure thing. And that's no disrespect to Maxime Bernard, Nick Clifford, Sabonis, Keegan Murray. That's no disrespect to all those guys. Very good basketball players, but the reality is that they just don't have the ceiling to be in a superstar. And that's what Darius Acuff Jr. is. He knew that he could be that potential franchise-changing superstar here in Sacramento, and he knows that he would start day 1. He would be given the keys to the kingdom day 1, and this is why Darius Acuff Jr. wanted to be here. This is why the Sacramento Kings draft room was electric when they found out that Darius Acuff Jr. is available to them at 7. They didn't have to trade up to get him. This is what makes the Kings the draft winners, man. They stand put at 7. They knew their guy, a good chance that they knew that their guy was going to be there at 7, and it was meant to be. And for a second, they scared me because I really thought that they would pass up on Acuff Jr. I just always had that thought in the back of my head, but the reality was no, they cannot screw this up. This is too good to be true. And Darius Acuff Jr. is officially a Sacramento King. This man is a franchise changer. He will turn this franchise around. And a big part of that is because he's got that superstar potential, but a big part of that will be a reason why he will turn this franchise around is because Scott Perry will build this roster out around Darius Acuff Jr. as the main centerpiece. And that's the thing, right? We've had proven talent. We've had talented players come and go in the past, but we just haven't really built anything long-term longevity and stability. Yes, you can talk about the Beam Team season 3 years ago and how magical that season was. Hell yeah, it was magical. Yes, we did not continue to build after that 1 year, and that's where it led to where we are now. But fortunes change, things change. This is the Scott Perry regime. This is plenty of optimism, plenty of renewed energy from this fan base moving forward. All year I heard was the Kings don't have nothing to build around. They don't have nothing to look forward to. they really don't have nothing. All they have is a bunch of role players. So you know what? They for sure have something to look forward to now. This fan base has something to look forward to feel optimistic about, and to be excited for. And they have a sure thing, a building block in Darius Acuff Jr. And I think that he's going to turn a lot of heads. There's a good chance he probably might be considered as the favorite of the Rookie of the Year award. But I'm telling you guys, I think the Kings struck gold with Darius Acuff Jr. at 7, knowing that they fell 2 spots out of the top 5. Despite all that, they still got the best point guard in the NBA draft, and they got most importantly, a building block, a franchise piece, a franchise star, franchise superstar, a franchise cornerstone at 7. And I love the fact that the Kings did not screw this up. They took a chance on a guy who has star potential, and just at 19 years old, he for sure has star potential. And I'm pretty damn excited. You know, being the longevity of this team and this supporter and this fan of this team, I can tell you, man, it was just a different feeling when we drafted Darius Acuff Jr. A team that passed up on Stephen Curry. A team that passed up on Klay Thompson. A team that fucking passed up on Damian Lillard. A team that passed up on CJ McCollum. A team that passed up on Luka the Doncic. It felt freaking so good to not have that suffering moment, and it felt so freaking good to know that they didn't pass up on a sure thing. They, this time, took that sure thing. Darius Acuff Jr. is going to be that sure thing. Remember this draft, Sacramento. Remember this draft. So with that being said, let me know your guys' thoughts on the NBA draft. The Sacramento Kings are the draft winners. Realistically speaking, they are the draft winners, and I'm looking forward to seeing what Scott Perry and the current regime in place, do with this roster now moving forward. So with that being said, appreciate you guys tuning in, man. Thank you so much. It means a lot to me. Have yourself a great rest of your night. Have yourself a great rest of your week. Take care. God bless. Keep pushing forward. I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.